One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. A metal mayhem that will never die. With engines roaring, he paves his way. A legend in the making, day by day.
Wow, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully everyone's enjoying themselves and having a beautiful start of the week. I definitely know that we are. Let's get it. All right, so guys, what we're looking at here is Iran threatens the United States, as well as Trump heads to NATO summit. That's actually going to be starting on the 7th, I believe. So that's tomorrow. And then we have Venezuela death toll rises. Unfortunately, we're watching those numbers kind of skyrocket. With the amount of people that are missing, unfortunately, it's not that surprising, but it is devastating, to say the least. All right, so real quick, before we get into like calls to actions and all that stuff, let's go ahead and quickly go over what we're going to be discussing this morning. First, we're going to be talking about a deadly Michigan mall shooting that happened over the weekend. It actually, I think this started like Friday afternoon, right after we got off the live show in the morning. And unfortunately, this happened. So we got that coverage for you guys, as well as Iran supreme leader absent from father's funeral, as I'm sure that you guys heard in the mainstream media. Any other outlets are going to be talking about that. And yes, the supreme leader currently is not showing himself at all. Like even at his father's funeral, there was leaders from around the world that were there and stuff like that, honoring him, but he himself was not out there. Then we have China launches Coast Guard patrol east of Taiwan, and that's something that we've got to keep an eye on. Anytime that there's movement around Taiwan, I definitely keep an eye on that. And then we have Iranian army chief issues threat to the United States, and this one's kind of big. This is in particular why I made the thumbnail the way that I did, because it was a direct threat on Trump's life, right? They're talking about assassinating Donald Trump. Then we have coming out from the New York PD just a day ago, Coney Island mass shooting update, teen shoots detective. Now, this, I've been following a little bit behind the scenes, not extremely. Because we did present something about this, I think last week, I think that's when this all happened. These guys came out and had an update yesterday on Sunday. Then we have Navy suspends active search for sailor in Arabian seas. Now, this one's a big one. I didn't even know about this until I saw this yesterday afternoon. I saw this part yesterday afternoon. I didn't know that there was a missing persons, and then they suspended the search because I guess not only the Air Force, but the Navy, they couldn't locate the person. Then we have Coney Island mass shooting details revealed. We have more details that are coming out. Yeah, because this was on July 4th. That's what it was. It wasn't that we presented it. It was, I remember watching a little bit about something. So I haven't presented this case yet. So that's good for me to know, but we're going to start presenting it. So 22 hours ago, this comes out. It says at least 8 people were shot, including 4 children on July 4th. The mass shooting took place around 10:35 p.m. Eastern. In a separate shooting, a New York PD officer was shot in Brooklyn on Sunday morning. The officer was shot by an 18-year-old male in Crown Heights. So I'm interested if that is the same shooting, like if it's two different shootings or two different suspects on that, or was it the same guy? I don't know yet. We're going to figure that out together. Then we have Iran Supreme Leader remains in hiding. As you guys know, I just told you that. But of course, they're going to be talking about it in the media leading up to this morning, of course. Then we have Trump wants, quote, loyalty from NATO allies ahead of critical Turkey summit. Now, here's the thing. Most of what they're going to be discussing in NATO over there is, tomorrow, they're going to be discussing a lot more to do with Ukraine, not necessarily what to do with Iran, right? So they're just figuring out how to, the aftermath of what's happening in Iran and how it'll affect them over there with Ukraine. That's literally what the discussions are going to be over, as they usually actually are. Then we have death toll from earthquakes in northern Venezuela rises as recovery efforts continue. And yes, unfortunately, I do have those numbers for you guys. I popped them up on AI because I was looking for the direct numbers as of right now. Now, of course, there's going to be conflicting reports here, but I'm going to report what Reuters is putting out there. As of right now, they're putting out 3,342 people are dead. About 16,470 to about 16,700 are injured. And then the missing and unaccounted for people, that number is the one that different organizations are throwing out different numbers. Okay. Reuters themselves are saying 50 plus thousand. There's another tracker with around 31,000 as of July 5th. So yes, the UN linked reporting though said 50,000 plus missing. And it says also 17,345 people now homeless, according to Venezuela's information ministry. Wow. Definitely some interesting stats there. Now, we're not quite done yet. We got Charlie Kirk's family releases a statement ahead of Tyler Robinson's hearing. We do have that because I think the hearing is, supposed to happen today. But we'll see about that. And then we, of course, have Trump that came out this morning, right before we started this live, actually, participates in the launch of the Trump accounts. So he goes out there, rings the bell, and talks about Trump accounts and what it is and all that stuff. So that's what we're looking like this morning. All right. Quickly, let's go ahead and do our call to actions, and then we'll get into the madness. Make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. I very much appreciate it, and it's free to do so. You know what else is free? Hitting that subscribe button. This is what we do Monday through Friday, and then, of course, we have members only on Saturday morning, man. Please consider becoming a member, though, starting only at $4.99 a month, making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody, but check it out. It's what allows us to be on these airwaves as well as have these lights on. So thank you guys for becoming members and staying members. Little side note here, make sure you guys follow my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news, as well as politics, all that stuff. We also have a Discord server for all of you legends for us to communicate as a community. Make sure you guys go down below in the description, and that's where you will find that invite link. And last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, and membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, we have these platforms that are scrolling around the screen at any time. You guys can donate to those, and I get 100% of the proceeds. And, of course, we'll read out loud anything that comes our way, just like a normal super chat. So I've got my email up. We're always scanning. All right, good morning to everybody, man. Great to see everyone in the chat, man. You guys are active in here, as always. Very much appreciate it. We got, by the way, Sick Bastard coming in with the raid this morning. I very much appreciate that, kind sir. It goes a long way. Thank you for sending all the love. We got Brother So Loud in here, as well as Easy Frank. Good morning, gentlemen. We got Mr. Al Patterson. Yes, sir. We got Sick Bastard saying word. Yes, sir. We got Naomi as well. Good morning. Good morning. We got Vanguard Critters as well. We got VC, Virginia Chaos, my man. We got Carrie as well. We're running our way down as fast as humanly possible. We got Charlie Rose. Yes, ma'am. We got Steve Easy as well. Good morning. Good morning. Running our way down as fast as humanly possible. We got Rabbit of Chaos. We got Mr. Al Patterson hanging out with us. We got Fabian. Good morning to you, by the way. Absolutely. I see you. No Grow up there in Canada, and Miss Lotus. Appreciate you guys. We got Tommy. Good morning, brother PJ. Yes, sir. Good morning to you guys. Make sure you guys hit that like button, by the way. Very much appreciate it. Let's see. We got 5150 Boomer. Good morning to you, kind sir. Running our way down. All right, let's go ahead and pretty much get right into the madness. We got a lot of stories to cover here. We're going to have to, because we have so many this morning, over the weekend, there was a lot of things that were happening, obviously. So we're going to try our best to condense everything down. I've got about 13 stories that we got to run through, and one of them is Trump speaking about the Trump account. So, of course, that's going to take up a little bit of time. So let's go ahead and get right into this madness. We're going to first start off with the deadly Michigan mall shooting that happened on 4th of July. And then later on that same day, or I think it was following or something, I can't remember exactly, but there was then an officer shooting. So
welcome back, everyone. It's live now from Fox. We continue to follow breaking news out of Dearborn, Michigan. A mall shooting leaving 2 people dead. Here is live Sky Fox images right now that we are bringing to you as we continue to follow this breaking news situation. Hi, everyone. Mike Page here. Thanks again for joining us. We're going to go right now to the coverage of Fox 2 Detroit as they continue to track this breaking news. Right now, they are speaking to some witnesses outside the mall. Let's listen in.
God saved me and my daughter because I literally just told my sister that I was about to walk around here.
Oh, shit. She's serious.
Yeah. And is this your little one over here? How old is she?
She's 4 and my oldest is 14.
But your little one was with you or both of them?
Yeah, she was getting her nails done. And she wouldn't go stay in the nail shop.
What's up, Gary? Good morning.
So I knew she was going to walk around here with me. And I just felt like it was, I felt like it was God. Because I'm thinking it was thundering, and it was really somebody shooting, and then it went off again, and then when I heard it, I said, that's them gunshots.
She said, I thought that was God. What? You thinking gunshots is God? And she was correlating it to, though, lightning and thunder. And then she realized that there was more shots, and it was like, oh, okay. Now that's where her why she said that. Real quick, we got brother Steve Easy coming in with the membership for 30 fucking months. Let's go, dude. He's saying smashing that like the same way I smash tortas hard as fuck. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Massive W. That's right. Get down with your bad self. Certified torta pounder, by the way.
You can hear the difference the second go round. The first go round, I just thought it might have been raining or thundering because that's what they said was supposed to happen.
What's your name, hon?
My name is Tamika.
Tamika, so knowing now that you heard those gunshots and that 3 people were shot and 2 people have been killed, what is your reaction?
It's sad. It's really sad, and I'm praying for
Carney Vanguard, good morning.
The family members, because it was kids in the mall. They was sitting there getting vending stuff, little balls from out the vending.
Well, right now, what I'm wanting to know is not her interview, to be honest. I gave her enough time. I want to know the victims, the 2 that they're showing right now. I mean, that number may go up. We do have the updated story on this, by the way, as well. But I want to know who the suspects are, and were they targets or were they not targets?
Jesus, still playing.
Like on accident, where innocent people are getting shot, or were they the target?
It got to stop. It truly got to stop because.
Yes, sir. Good morning there. We got Mr. Sterling Wheel hanging out with us this morning. And yes, he is here at the pad. Hopefully you guys get to be able to hang out with him a little bit. We'll take some pictures and stuff before he leaves and all that stuff. But yes, sir. Great to have you.
Not only is, adults, it's the kids is getting hurt behind this. You came to a public place and decided, hey, this was about to happen. It's scary. It's very scary.
Family atmosphere. You're out here with your, children and
yeah, get my daughter nails did so she can go see Chris Brown and Usher. Never thinking that, I don't put nothing past anything.
Texas Gidget, good morning. All right. So, like I said, I gave her enough time to go ahead and spill the beans on what she wanted to. Let's go ahead and move on into the next little bit here.
I know that you were getting your nails done.
Yes.
You're going to see Usher and Chris Brown.
Yes.
So this is...
Oh, my God. Typical. She's going to Usher and see Chris Brown. She's getting her nails did, She
an exciting time. Tell me what happened.
So basically, I was getting my nails did, and all we heard was like
yeah, she literally said, I'm getting my nails did.
booming noise. Thought it was like raining because like thunder and stuff, but obviously I guess not. And it's very like scary.
Mr. Pops, my man. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning as well with TNT. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the morning and the start of your week. Also, I hope that all of you guys had a great 4th of July weekend, man. I definitely know that we did out here. We got down with our bad self.
Scary situation, especially for her age, because she's only 4. I mean, it wasn't very scary for me because I've seen a lot of these things happen before. So it's not really too scary.
That's a VW bug, man. That thing is badass. Sterling, you'll have to type the year in it. I forget what year it is.
For her age, it's very traumatizing.
Well, it is very scary. And at 14, you shouldn't see these things either. This is the kind of stuff that shouldn't happen. And, you know, this is an exciting day because you're going to go to a big concert.
Yeah, I wish it could have been better with all of this. It's just too much.
It's very sad. It has to be so scary. And this is your little sister here down here. She said you said she's 4 years old.
Yeah.
When I talked to your mom, she said she was crying.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
Well, that sucks. Let me see if they end up right here in all of this. They're just interviewing people that were in or around the mall at the time. Let's see if we get any video. It looks like we do have a little video right here. Let's see what's happening here.
Right of the mall. Let's listen in.
Okay, these are the actual gunshots from inside the mall. You guys can hear it from, cell phone footage. Yeah, that's fucked.
All right, somebody was shot in the mall while we were working. They are trying to revive him right over there. That is EMS working on him.
And this is an image of a person inside of their store with the mall gate down, taking cover. As you can imagine, certainly not the scenario they were hoping for on a 4th of July weekend. And this is an image that just came into our newsroom.
There's the image right there. So the way that it was popping, I mean, it's really hard to tell from bad audio, right? I'm just going to be honest. This guy's recording from a fucking potato. So hearing audio and the video is actually good compared to the audio. But hearing what I did here, it did sound like a handgun. And what they're showing right here, it is a handgun. They don't have, because usually when these big mass shootings happen, they bring out the big black rifle, and then of course, those are the people that the reason why gun laws are a fucking thing. Part of one of the main reasons, but yeah. Anyway, so it was a handgun. It looks like a Glock of some sort with like an extended mag.
Film showing the alleged gunman with the gun. We can't make out if this is a male or a female, but this is one of the images that has been circulating on.
They're like, we can't make it out if he's a male or female. No, that's a dreadlock motherfucker right there. That's a dude.
Acts of the apparent mall gunman at Fairlane Town Center in Dearborn, Michigan.
Women don't usually start shooting up fucking places. That's not really their thing. They got a lot of fuck ups as women, but us men, we have to take the L on this one because it's always emotional men who are the most dangerous people in the world, by the way, that will go out and do some shit like this. Right.
Again, we do know now it is confirmed 3 people shot. 2 of the 3 victims are now dead, and police are still on the scene. We don't know if paramedics are still on the scene. We saw paramedics rushing out of the mall. We don't know if they had victims that they may have been reviving. You still see people leaving them.
Yeah, that's right. And even saying it like that, we got that Glock in that switch, yo. You know what I mean? We got that Glock in that switch type shit.
The mall, the parking lot still has multiple vehicles, so we don't know if there are still people inside of the mall, but we do know the mall remains on lockdown right now.
Well, that's terrible. All right, so let's see if we get anything else out of this. If we don't, then we're going to move on. Nope, we don't. Let's move on. All right, let's get into Iran's supreme leader absent from father's funeral. As you guys know, there was the big funeral celebration, whatever you want to call it. Nonetheless, they were doing that, and they had world leaders from all over the place, actually, that attended. There was people that sent a lot of love to them in that aspect. But the new Ayatollah or whatever, the supreme leader, is not present because obviously, well, there's two things that it could be. Okay. One, he's too injured to be able to come out and it'll look weak for the regime, or 2, he's not even alive. Now, people say that he's alive, and there's the claims that he's amputated. He lost his leg or whatever. He got hurt. There was other parts that he got injured from, and it does take a minute for you guys to recover from any type of injury, something like that, traumatic. But truth be told, we haven't heard from him. We haven't seen from him. The only thing that we, quote unquote, heard from him on is, in particular, there was a note that he wrote and hand it over to one of his people to go out there and read. And that was kind of in the, I don't know, like maybe a month ago at this point. And that's the only thing that at least we have heard from him on. So let's go ahead and bring this up, figure out what the fuck is going on here.
Welcome back here on Live Now from Fox.
We got light up too.
5:09 on the East Coast and 2:09 on the West Coast. My name is Josh Breslow. Thank you so much for being with us here on this Sunday morning, or for some of you folks out there watching, I guess still Saturday night. Thank you again as we take a live look over.
Well, that when it was live, yeah, that was during, Saturday night over there. But obviously we're presenting it today here just to catch up on the weekend.
Philadelphia at this hour. You can see some of the live images that we have coming in out of several different cameras in the area. Now, I want to pop this up on your screen to give you a look at one of the other questions we're asking you. Again, as we're 24/7, we're kind of working to fine tune all of this and figure out what we're going to do differently based on exactly what you at home work.
I don't know why they're just doing this random fucking poll here, but we're going to skip ahead
on the weekends.
Right
now, I do want to get you into some of the headlines as we learned from y'all at home that you want to hear more about the international headlines going on overnight. Popping this up on your screen, and normally we would not show this here, but this is a live look over at that funeral service for Ali Khamenei, the former supreme leader, over in Iran, where you can see dozens upon dozens, hundreds of people that have shown up as those funeral services are underway for the man who died during the U.S. and Israeli joint strikes earlier this year that launched Operation Epic Fury and Operation Roaring Lion. Speculation, though, reignited about the
and there was I saw on social media, I think last night or yesterday, sometime yesterday, when they were holding this, they were chanting at a certain point. I'm sure it wasn't like this the entire time, but there was a certain point where they were, screaming, chanting death to America, right? Of course.
Status of Khamenei's son, Mashtaba, the new-ish supreme leader, after he was a no-show at the services. Popping this up on your screen to give you a look at some of the information we're following here. This is from the New York Post, as it's...
Lucy is the coolest cat, dude. I don't care what anybody says. That's exactly why when they offered me money for her, I declined it instantaneously. I'm like, I already fell in love with this damn cat, I love that. I mean, not only her look and all that, but her personality.
As three sons of Iran's late Ayatollah
AP, good morning.
Khamenei appear at funeral, but Supreme Leader Mashtaba Khamenei is still absent. Mashtaba has not been seen since his father's death, with some U.S. officials speculating that he was severely disfigured in the strike or may have been killed altogether. Right now,
that's literally what I just stated. I
want to cover a little bit more about all of this and the latest developments that are coming in out of the Middle East, and I can tell you there are quite a few of them. Let's bring in Seth Frantzman, adjunct fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, to talk all about it. Seth, thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox to help discuss this.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And first off, I want to start by asking you about that report. Now, we're hearing from the New York Post. We've also heard...
And we're not going to listen to this guy too much here. I just want to get the front monologue, and then we're going to bounce out of it because we still got a lot, obviously, to go through.
From Iran International English that Mashtaba nowhere to be seen, but his siblings there have shown up for the services. What is there to maybe take?
Not only the siblings that showed up, but there was leaders and everything, governmental officials. He was just the only person that wasn't present, right? Now, real quick, looks like we got a little cash up here. Let me go ahead and pull this up. Give me a second. Here it is. My man, VC in the building, Virginia Chaos, saying Hooker got rained out over the weekend. Her tip. Appreciate the $10, my man. Hooker got rained out over the weekend. Shit. Well, hey, man, I very much appreciate that. 10 spot on the Cash App, by the way.
Away from that no-show, that absence.
Well, I think it's as you stated. I mean, it's possible that he's, wounded, and so therefore he can't show up because they would feel that him being in a wheelchair with bandages or whatever, that would not project the kind of power. They're trying to use this, this funeral as obviously to project Iranian stability and power against the United States and Israel and in the region. So, that's one thing you can read from it, because this funeral is all about the pageantry, right? In the Islamic tradition, I think you're supposed to bury someone basically right after they're killed, not supposed to wait, months for it. So this is not really.
Well, I would think that would go for, kind of almost any religion or even people that aren't religious. I think that would be true for all of that, where you don't want to wait weeks and weeks to bury a dead body. You want to do it as soon as possible, right?
About the funeral. It's about the state of Iran. So
what's up,
that's
Stacks?
maybe
Good
one
morning.
reason. Another reason is probably they're fearful that he would be assassinated. I mean, Israel and the United States show that they're willing to take out, a leader like the.
Here, no, girl, I got you on that.
Why are you gay? You are gay.
Shit. Covered.
Former supreme leader who's being buried. So I assume that's a fear as well. So you can imagine those two things, and it's also plausible that maybe he's not alive, so therefore he can't appear. So
exactly.
any of those options.
And I'm showing you this live image once again coming in out of Iran at this funeral service. I mentioned here that normally we wouldn't carry something like this. We wouldn't show it, but it's important to kind of show today for context as we're watching all of this kind of play out over the last several days into the next several days. Also on that note here, what message does it maybe send to the people of Iran and really overall the Islamic Republic, the IRGC, all of them when you don't have the leadership there at this service?
What's up, Josh Phillips, Alabama's finest? Hopefully you're enjoying the morning so far. Definitely know that we are. Finally, it's cooling off a little bit. It's going to be in like the high 80s today, so it's starting to cool off. We got rain coming in though, so.
Well, I think in the end of the day, the supreme leader, he's a leader, but even the previous one that was killed, I mean, it's not that he was showing up in public every day. So I'm not sure how much that matters for the average person in Iran. I think that the whole point of this funeral, this multi-day, it's almost a week-long funeral in which I think they said there were
Damn, week-long funeral. That's how long this shit goes for. It's going to be a week long. I didn't know that aspect. Damn. All right. Let's go ahead and move on, though. Enough rhetoric on that. Something that caught my attention this morning was the headline about this. China launches Coast Guard patrol east of Taiwan. Anytime that we're watching any type of military shifts or anything about pretty much anywhere in the world, but especially Taiwan, I definitely keep an eye on it. So let's go ahead and pull this up and figure out what we're looking at here together here. Now, first, we got to get the money part over with, man. We haven't done that shit yet. And we'll get the sandwich out of the way, too.
All right, just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
Now, that is actual factuals, by the way. Just so
man,
you know.
motherfuckers talk all the shit they want. But you see me, I'm sitting up here snacking on this big-ass sandwich, not getting a fuck. Kiss my dick, motherfucker.
Perfect. All right. Now let's get back into business here. Now that we've got our, propaganda out of the way for the day.
All right. So as I mentioned here at the top of the hour, we are going to get to some of the live news that we are covering at this hour. And this is coming in a post from the Jerusalem Post that says China now says it has launched a new Coast Guard patrol east of Taiwan. And that's, of course, drawing a sharp response from Taipei after a task force last month off the island's coast was cause for alarm, with alarm bells ringing there. Taiwan's government condemned the new patrol, saying it was a, quote, illegal expansion of power in violation.
Yeah, and I think that this is a rhetorical question, by the way, NY, but I think the answer is no. He has not been seen since the bombing. So it's either that he's too injured and it would look weak upon the regime if he showed, or he is unalived. Either one. I honestly think that because of what is the current setting that we see what Iran is going through in the aspect on a military front, what the United States and what the Israelis have done. They've done a very good job of taking out a lot of their top leadership. So I think that he is, if he is alive, I do believe that is more probability of what's happening is like, hey, I can't go somewhere where it's automatic that they know where to get me. I'm sure that he wants to be in his hole, in his bunker down below, 20 feet below or whatever.
Of international law and a disruption of regional stability, end quote. Carrie Brown is a professor of Chinese studies at King's College London and the director of the Lao China Institute, joining us now live to talk all about it. Thank you so much, Carrie, for taking the time to join us here.
Yes, by the way, we have over 120 people in here between both the live streams. Make sure you guys hit that like button, man. It definitely goes a long way. And as well, if you're on the vertical side, double tap that screen. You guys don't have to like all this craziness. You guys can like it for me and what we're doing here. So, all right, here we go.
On live now from Fox.
Thank you very much. Good to speak to you.
Good to speak to you. And first off, I want to ask you kind of the overall goal here of China by doing this. Is this something that they would have done anyway, or are they trying to send a message of some kind?
I think behind it is their anxiety about the relatively new Japanese Prime Minister, Takeuchi, she made some comments which the Japanese government claimed were misrepresented late last year about, kind of maybe being more active in helping Taiwan defend itself. And so the East China Sea is the area which is broadly between Taiwan Island and Japan. I mean, obviously, it's a huge stretch of water. It involves also some claims by the Japanese about the Diaoyu Taiwa Senkaku Islands. And so this is...
Oh, another interesting fact that just happened yesterday is Japan just had a whole bunch of their ships pass through the Strait of Hormuz. I don't know. It happened just yesterday evening.
It's kind of really like a three sort of
like 10 of them
game. It's got China, Taiwan, Japan, of course, the United States, which has a huge security presence there. So really, I think it's China putting down its kind of stake, saying we will be, active in this area. They're using proxies, they're using lifeguards, so there's a sort of plausible but not deniability. This is a complicated situation, and it's getting more complicated.
What about the waters over in that area? We're talking about, I believe, east of Taiwan there. Are they strategically important in any way overall?
Yeah, I mean, for China, it is a cause of constant frustration that quite close to its very important eastern coast, massive logistics. I mean, one of the great trading areas of the world, they don't really have, the kind of ability to defend themselves. It's a strategic area. Taiwan, of course, is their greatest...
Well, that's so funny, Steve Easy. At this point, I would not advise it. I definitely wouldn't advise it. But I guess in the aspect of what Taiwan has to offer and their chips and all that stuff and their infrastructure in that and being able to know how to build these things perfectly. I mean, it would take us many years to catch up to Taiwan. Other analysts say about 10 years it would take infrastructure wise to build to get to that level. But so we've got a lot of time, a lot of money, but would we rather have Taiwan or would we rather allow China to have Taiwan? Essentially is the question, right? So at this point, I get your point, though.
Priority retaking Taiwan, reunification with Taiwan. Some people have talked about 2027 being the date they'll try and do this. I think that's unlikely. But these kind of Coast Guard or, infractions on Taiwanese airspace, those sorts of things have happened quite a lot in the last few years, supply psychological pressure.
Yes, and please give her my love as well, Pops. Make sure you do that, please. We always appreciate you guys, and hopefully you guys are taking it easy and allow recovery to do its thing.
And on top of this, there's a sort of ambiguity with the Trump administration. On the one hand, Trump has allowed the selling of quite a lot of military equipment to Taiwan, big amounts. And on the other, when he met Xi Jinping only a few weeks ago in Beijing, he kind of said Taiwan should not be pushing for independence. This is completely unacceptable, and almost seemed to be taking a more favorable position towards Beijing.
Okay, yeah, I agree with this aspect of should Taiwan get its own independence and them fighting for that and all that stuff. And it's like, well, listen, man, you can't have what you can't defend. Okay. That's just the way I look at things.
So that plays a lot into this kind of China pushing against the boundaries and seeing where people's real allegiance lies at the moment.
Talking about that meeting between President Trump and Xi Jinping, what is...
Yes. And see, that whole aspect, what you just heard right there about Xi and Trump meeting up during that meeting, that's why Josh is bringing that up, because he knows, because I remember presenting and him actually laying out the facts as well with this, that the meeting between Xi and Trump, when Trump brought all these executives, all these people, whatever, whole bunch of business CEOs, whatever, brought all these people over. And yes, there was a lot of trade discussed, but the number one thing that Trump wanted to talk about was trade and the Strait and stuff like that. Obviously the Strait of Hormuz. And so that's kind of what our media propaganded, right? They were putting out like as if this was the big talks about the Strait, blah, blah, blah. And yes, Xi, granted, they did discuss it. And Xi was like, yes, I do believe that these straits should be open and it should be toll free, blah, blah, blah. But what Xi wanted out of that meeting had nothing to do with any of that shit, had all to do with Taiwan. That's it. Just so you guys know.
What's that relationship like? Because it almost seems to go, I would say, back and forth. You've had remarks that are made, but then you have them come together and have what appear to be a civil conversation. So what is the current status of that relationship?
Mr. Motor Bomber, good morning to you, kind sir. Did you make it to work over there safely? Hopefully it's not pouring rain on you.
Overall.
Well, I think for the Trump administration, one of their issues is that Taiwan has a very, very big hold over semiconductors. And although there's been attempts to, kind of invest in the United States, the technology that Taiwan has is the real kind of game changer here, because no one else really has that. The Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, incredible.
We got Mr. Jack Talcott in the building, my man. Hopefully you're also enjoying the start of your week. And I definitely know that we are. Blessings to you.
Company, one of the most expensive companies in the world, produces something like 90% of the world's high-tech semiconductors, what we're all reliant on. So this sort of has been called a silicon shield. And I think that really sort of plays into the Trump administration desire to, be less dependent on this kind of technology, even from Taiwan. There's also a kind of sense that, for the United States, they have their own issues with China, huge issues, right? Rebalancing the trade deficit, things like this. And Taiwan is a part of that. It's not kind of completely controlling it all. So they have they're a fellow democracy. They obviously have a kind of strong link with Taiwan, but there's a lot of other factors at play that we've been seeing, kind of coming out more and more in the last few years.
All right. That's enough for Taiwan for right now. Let me go ahead and see if they have this. This is the Jerusalem Post. Tensions rose near Taiwan after China launched another Coast Guard patrol east of the island, drawing a warning from Taipei that Chinese vessels would be expelled. Interesting. All right, let me see if there's any more posts on this. And if there isn't, and it's just this analyst that's going to keep talking about it, we're going to move on. That's exactly what we're doing. Iranian army chief issues threat to the United States. So this is actually what I made. I based my thumbnail today. And it was specific to assassinate. Well, that's, they're calling to action for the assassination of Trump. And so obviously we don't condone any of that type of fucking behavior. We don't condone us even saying that about their shit. So anyways, let me go ahead and pull this up and let's get real. I mean, like you guys can't even handle Israel over there. What makes you think that you're going to be able to assassinate Trump? I mean, fucking stop the cat, bruh. Anyways, back to this.
Right now, though, I do want to get you right back into some of the big stories that we are covering on this Sunday. And this is coming in from Iran International English as an apparent threat from the chief of the Iranian army as funeral services continue for the former supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, who died during the U.S. and Israeli joint strikes earlier on this year.
What's up, Brother 13? Good morning to you.
It says Iranian army chief said on Sunday on the sidelines of Ali Khamenei's burial ceremony that he had told Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei that those behind the killing of the former Supreme Leader would not be left alone. It does not sound as though the comments went on, but again, that is a post from Iran International English. Now, at the same time, the New York Post saying that 3 sons of Khamenei appeared at the funeral, but the new Supreme Leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, is still absent, not showing up. So that's leading to a lot more speculation like we saw over the past several months. Right now, I want to discuss all of this here, the significance, what it all means. Let's bring in John Hanna, the former National Security Advisor to former Vice President Dick Cheney. He is now with JINSA. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us on this Sunday, John.
Well, thanks for having me, Josh. Great to be with you, and belated happy.
Yeah, real quick, I think what the Army chief needs to do is I really do think he needs to embrace his fuck ups.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck ups when you have tomorrow's fuck ups to look forward to? You are a fuck up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
Shall always embrace the process. Absolutely. Anyways, that fuck up might actually cost him, though, So.
Happy 4th. And first off, I wanted to start by talking to you about what we've learned here. The fact that Mojtaba Khamenei did not show up or has not shown up to his father's funeral. But before that, some of the comments that were made by Iran's chief of the army, it sounded as though that was pretty much a threat against the U.S.
Oh, yeah. And this is no question about it, Josh. The Iranians, and I imagine if the supreme leader is in fact alive and well, he lost his father, he lost other family members, perhaps his wife. So revenge is no doubt very much on their minds. I'd remind everybody that it's been years already that for the killing of the former IRGC Quds Force commander Qasem Soleimani in 2021, that there are still a number of U.S. officials from the first Trump administration that have got death threats over their heads and continue to maintain their own security.
And that's a huge possibility there, Steve Easy. No doubt.
Details for fear of possible Iranian assassination attempts. So this is very real, and I imagine we'll be living with it for some time.
And it's important to note, because I touched on this off the top and you touched on it a little there, but Mushtaba Khamenei has not been seen since his father was killed in that strike. There were reports from U.S. officials, different media outlets speaking with sources.
Yeah, the only reports that came out were when the Supreme Leader now theoretically wrote a letter. That's it. And then one of his officials made the statement with the media, but that was it. So there is no other communications that we've heard from him on or seen.
Mushtaba had been tremendously disfigured or maybe even killed in the strike. It's all unclear.
Yeah, I'm told that he is now an amputee like me if he's still alive. You know.
Now, what's important to note is he has not been seen. And on the same note, at this point, we don't actually know if he's alive. We haven't heard from him. So what do you make of that overall? Is that any surprise to not hear or see the new leader?
No, I can answer that. So we're not going to have him give him, you know, a 4-minute answer that I could just say yes or no. All right. Let me see here. It says Trump says U.S. will pause Iran strikes amid the you know, the former Supreme Leader's funeral.
Israel and Hezbollah, but then eventually,
which is interesting because it was all about like, hey, we're gonna have our 4th of July and all this stuff. We're gonna lay off some time to like, we'll come back to this after both of our holidays or whatever are done, our celebrations are done.
Getting to the ultimate talks that these negotiations.
Oh shit, Brother So Loud coming in with the 10 spot, by the way, and saying I'm embraced. Yes, sir. Yes, you are. As you should be, and never live in denial. You know what I mean?
Denied.
So, hey, very much appreciate that. It goes a long way. And we got Mr. Al Batterson coming in and dropping it like it is hot, by the way. Very much appreciate that, kind sir. Not only helping me, but 5 others in the Insane Wheels family, bro. I can't thank you enough for that. That definitely goes a long fucking way.
Oh, shit!
All right, let's go ahead and get back into this.
Are supposed to be about, which is the final disposition of this, you know, still existent and threatening Iranian nuclear program. Again, those negotiations haven't even yet really begun, and we're well past 2 weeks into this.
Yes, and well, that's a good point that John is bringing up. We're 2 weeks into this whole MOU, you know what I mean? So we have these agreements that are limited to 60 days. Okay. We haven't even gotten to anywhere close to getting to the table and talking about their nuclear program.
Ceasefire now.
On that note, do you see a deal? We have this memorandum of understanding, but it's questionable as to who signed it, what happens next. Do you see a world where in the coming days, weeks, maybe even months, we do have some kind of, let's call it a deal between the U.S. and Iran? Is that something that is actually obtainable?
No, that the answer to that question, is it actually obtainable to actually get a deal out of this at the end of this? No.
In theory, it's attainable. Obviously,
we got TVT up in the building. Always appreciate you coming in, hanging out with us.
10, 11 years ago, we had the JCPOA nuclear deal under the Obama administration.
Yeah, and that's a totally different setup, and the way that it went about it, it's not the way that it is now. The landscape is 1,000% changed since then. So we're not going to see something like the JCPOA off of this MOU. I promise that.
So this is possible, but I would say, as a matter of fact, it's going to be extremely difficult, given the fact that the Iranians do feel that they're in a very, very strong position now in the wake of this war. Whether they're deluding themselves or not, that's the way they feel. And I think, as we saw in the memorandum of understanding, they intend to drive a extremely high bargain. So whether their maximalist demands and positions on Hormuz, on various elements of their nuclear program, on a refusal to deal with their missile program and their support of terrorist proxy armies across the region, whether that can meet any kind of minimal threshold for the United States and what we need to advance our interests and the president needs in order to be able to argue that he's achieved a good deal here, a deal that is better than what President Obama achieved in 2015.
Which I don't think it's feasible. And then we left that, Trump pulled us out of that.
It was a very open question and is certainly not.
We got Vegas Profile Stories in the building. Very much appreciate you. Hopefully you're enjoying your morning as well. I definitely know that we are over here.
Going to get resolved in the next 60 days. It's a long-term proposition. And all the while, the chances for miscalculation are very high around Hormuz, around the Lebanon.
What's up, GEG? Good morning.
Conflict between Israel and Hezbollah. And there's always a chance that that the Iranians will push too hard, be too demanding. And at some point in time, the president may feel he needs to return to a more kinetic kind of operation.
Exactly. And that's exactly what is going to happen. It like he said, it'll return right back into a kinetic operation. All right. We got a little update right here from the NYPD as of yesterday. It looks like it from yesterday. Coney Island mass shooting update. Teen shoots detective. Now, there was the mass shooting, as you guys know, that we presented. But then right after that whole thing, I'm not sure if it was the same day or if it was, let me read it. It says they say a detective was shot by an 18-year-old on Sunday morning. They also provide an update on the Coney Island shooting. Multiple people were shot Saturday night. So, okay, Saturday night was the mass shooting, and then Sunday morning was a man that shot a detective. Well, I guess he was an 18-year-old. So, anyways, here we go. Let me go ahead and bring this up. 3, 2, 1, bam. Here we go.
Tisch, the commissioner, as well as New York City Mayor.
All right, and so we'll skip ahead to them giving the opening here. Okay, good.
Police-involved shooting that resulted in one NYPD detective being shot in the Crown Heights section of Brooklyn.
Dragon Classy, good morning. So this, where the detective got shot, was in Brooklyn.
Information that I'm about to provide is quite preliminary, and it is subject to change. We do not have body-worn camera video of the actual shooting incident, presumably because it happened so quickly and unexpectedly.
Hey, I appreciate that, Big Exotics. Appreciate that. It goes a long way.
But a number of officers activated their cameras post-discharge. What we can say at this point is that at approximately 4:14 this morning, officers assigned to a mobile field force detail in the confines of the 7-7 precinct were parked in an unmarked police vehicle on the west side of Nostrand Avenue and St. John's Place when an individual approached their car. That same individual was captured on CCTV video 5 minutes prior and 1 block.
I wonder if they're going to show that video footage, by the way. They said they caught it on CCTV.
North with a firearm in his hand. Given the lack of body-worn camera in this incident, the circumstance...
Real quick, VPS knows a little something about it. He says the detectives were in an unmarked surveillance vehicle and they recovered the gun. They shot at him a few times and they missed their shots and had to tase him. What? Wow. That's crazy. They need to go, to the range and go practice their shots, man. That's crazy.
Of the approach are still unclear, but we can say that officers exited their vehicle and attempted to engage the armed individual. There is also ballistic damage to the department vehicle that the officers were sitting in, including bullet holes in the front and rear windshields and the passenger side of the car. 3 officers discharged their weapons. The subject was not struck. After a foot pursuit, the subject was apprehended a few blocks away from the incident location at Rogers Avenue and Union Street. During the apprehension, the subject resisted arrest and refused to be handcuffed. A taser was deployed and the subject was taken into custody. A SAR 9mm.
Wow. So he shot the cop and lived because he didn't even get shot. They missed and tased him and then arrested him.
Firearm was recovered. During the gunfire, one detective was struck in the back of his ballistic vest. X-rays show a contusion to the detective's back near where the bullet struck his vest. A second officer suffered a contusion to the face and the shoulder. The officers involved in this incident.
Real quick, VPS says, first 3 detectives to miss multiple shots at close range in the middle of the city is wild work. I agree with that statement, by the way. That is absolute wild work.
We're there as part of our 4th of July violence reduction plan to address ongoing crew violence in the area. The officers had been reassigned there shortly before midnight from a SAIL 250 detail in Lower Manhattan earlier in the day. The injured officers were immediately transported to King's.
What's up, brother Bill Castle over there in the state of Washington? Great to see you in the chat, bro.
County Hospital. The officer who was shot is Detective Robert Carroll of the Sex Offender Monitoring Unit. I have visited with Detective Carroll, and I am grateful to report that he is expected to make a full recovery. His ballistic vest performed exactly as it was designed, and today...
So the cop is good. It went into his ballistic vest, and it operated exactly how it should have.
Vest saved his life.
All right, good. So, because we have so much shit going on, we're going to have to move on from this, but at least we got the details right there of what happened in that specific thing. First, now I have to get into a story that's super interesting regarding the Navy suspends active search for sailor in Arabian Seas. So unfortunately, with this, there was the Navy and the Air Force that were looking for this. So it was a big deal. All right, let me go ahead and pop this up for you guys, and we'll get right to it. 3, 2, 1. Bam.
We have some breaking news to report here on Live Now from Fox. The U.S. Navy has suspended its search of a missing sailor in the Arabian Sea. We have this from U.S. Central Command. This is the full press release that just came out a little bit ago. Let's pull it up here, saying this: the U.S. Navy suspended the active search for a sailor assigned to Helicopter Sea Combat Squadron HSC-5, embarked aboard aircraft carrier USS George H.W. Bush, effective 3 p.m. AST on July 5th, 2026. The sailor was reported missing July 1st after...
Now, this is a big deal. I mean, right here, there was a downed helicopter and they were doing an active search, and they had to give up on the search. So it was a big deal.
MH-60S helicopter went down in the Arabian Sea. The efforts concluded following an extensive search by the U.S. Navy and U.S. Air Force in the U.S. Central Command area of responsibility. The sailor's name is being withheld until at least 24 hours after next of kin notification is complete in accordance with Navy policy. More than 102...
So it was an MH-60S helicopter specific. That's the model.
Hours, an extensive and coordinated search and rescue effort spanning over 14,000 square miles was conducted. The efforts brought together the USS George H.W. Bush carriers HSC-5 and Helicopter Maritime Strike Squadron, the fixed wing aircraft of Carrier Air Wings.
Yeah, this isn't a sailor, actually. It's a downed helicopter, one of our equipment.
Yeah, Carrier Air Wings CVW-7 and 9, aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln's Helicopter Squadron, Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyers.
So it says an active search for a sailor, which they do say that, assigned to the Helicopter Sea Combat Squadron, HS. So essentially, he's off of one of the carriers, but it was a downed helicopter. That's what ended up happening here.
USS
so
Ross.
That's interesting how, I mean, because he is in the Navy, but he flies the helicopter.
USS
so
Donald Cook,
makes
USS
sense.
Higgins, USS Mason, and USS John Finn with HSM-51, 2 B-8 Poseidon Squadron.
Correct. Yeah, there was, I think that, like you just said here, I don't see it on the report here, but I did hear this as well in other reports that there was 4 people in the helicopter and 3 were saved, and unfortunately them trying to find that last one.
Squadrons and multiple U.S.
But they
Air
had to
Force
suspend it.
aircraft. You have this from Fox News there, breaking U.S. Navy suspend.
Shit, you've missed it 3 times now, Frank. Come on, my man.
For sailor who went missing when the helicopter went down in the Arabian Sea. Again, this happened back on July 1st, and there has been an extensive search ever since, which we are now learning, according to the U.S. Navy Central Command, that search has been suspended. If we get any new details on this story, we'll make sure to bring it to you.
And obviously, that's what we're going to do as well. So guys, real quick, I got a very special person behind me. I want him to pop in and say hi real quick. You want to sit down, or do you want to just...
I'll just kneel on over. Hey, kids.
We got Mr. Sterling Wheel up in the chat, my man.
Awesome. It's cool to see everything behind the scenes and stuff. And
yeah.
Mike's cat is the coolest cat I've ever met in my life.
She is the best cat. The best cat. I love that fucking cat.
Good times.
Yeah, it is good times.
So yeah, I've joined the Discord. So if you kids want to follow my travels, by all means, you'll find me there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be good times.
Good times,
and
brother.
We're going to catch lunch after this too. So
yeah,
I won't run us into super overtime, but I still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stories to go through.
Oh, wow.
But a lot of these are like just updates, and like this one I'm probably not going to even run. Okay. So you know what I mean? I kind of cut it the way like that. So yeah, we'll see how fast we get through it.
Yeah, it's cool to see the magic behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's a trip. It's a total trip.
Good times.
All right, my man. Let's get back into it, everybody. Big W's for Sterling Wheel in the chat. Came all the way, hung out with me. Let's go. Virginia Chaos says Waffle House lunch. No, dude, are you fucking serious? Denied. Yeah, big denied.
Denied.
Yeah. Let me get that bullshit one too. Bullshit. Yeah, facts. All right. So let's get into this Coney Island mass shooting details. The shooting details are now being revealed. So let's go ahead and bring this up and figure out what the fuck is going on in this case.
We are continuing to follow some breaking news out of New York City, where a violent turn of events in the city after an NYPD officer was shot earlier this morning in Brooklyn. And this follows a mass shooting last night in Coney Island that injured 8 people, including 4 children. To talk more on both of these headlines, I do want to bring in live Fox 5 New York's Lisa Evers. And Lisa, we know that you've been following both of these stories very closely.
Stephanie, yes, that's right. We're following them very closely here in the Fox 5 newsroom in New York City. And it's just incredible. What an incredible contrast, because all day yesterday, hundreds of thousands, maybe even more than 1 million people were in Manhattan, in the city, to take in the Sail 250. Also people in Brooklyn, Staten Island, and all around, the area, the waterways and everything.
No, I'm not taking them to the fucking chicken spot. Come on, you guys. You guys are walking L's, man. What is going on with y'all? Walking L's with 2 legs, that's a serious L, All right, here we go.
Under this very tight security for the ships, for the dignitaries.
We got class over here.
There are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people peacefully celebrating America's 250th birthday. And then the trouble started locally last night. Now, they had already in advance deployed additional NYPD officers because it is the 4th of July. There's concerns about fireworks. There's extra FDNY fire department personnel on tap in case there's any accidents with fireworks that people are trying to do on their own, which is never recommended. And so what happened?
So this mass shooting, they originally reported that there was 2 people dead, but it leaves behind 8 injured as well. So this is a big deal.
Last night about 10:30.
And this is that guy that I mean, usually mass shootings are involved with like some sort of AR or something like that. This guy it looked like a Glock and an extended mag. That's what it looked like from the image that they caught on video.
Last night in Coney Island, there was a barbecue that was going on. A typical thing that happens in New York City, all across the country, in Coney Island, in this courtyard of this apartment complex area. And then just a masked gunman, according to NYPD Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch, who gave us a briefing this morning, a masked gunman.
Yes, by the way, make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap that screen. I very much appreciate it. And thank you for that, Naomi. Appreciate it.
Keep
looking
in mind,
out for me.
We were kind of on the tail end of a big heat wave yesterday, going in last night. This man is dressed all in black. She said that the gunman had a face mask on.
I actually don't know the victims yet. That's what I'm trying to get out of this as well. And this is the details that have been quote unquote revealed.
And just goes into this barbecue and just randomly starts shooting at people. There were 4 adults that were hit. One of the adults, a woman, a 21-year-old woman. She's in very critical condition. There were 4 children who were hit, ranging in age from 6 to 6. One was 6, one was 7, one was 12, one was 14 years old. And it's just the stunning type of violence that people just can't understand. Like, how does this happen? Somebody just barges into this barbecue and opens fire. So we're still waiting. That suspect is still at large. They have not captured that suspect.
So the suspect is at large. Wow, that's major. They had all this video footage. This is in Coney Island. You're not in like rural Alabama, dude. Like you're in Coney Island. They got video of you everywhere. You got social media people that are posting you, and they don't got you.
I'm sure that they will eventually.
Wow.
So there's no word on any type of motive yet or what could possibly have triggered this off. But it definitely wasn't random because of the location. They went in there. They knew who was going to be in there. And then they started shooting like that. But just a terrible way to end the 4th of July. And especially, on this 4th of July and on a day that many, many families everywhere celebrate. And, with the kids can stay up late, barbecue, music's playing, and have a wonderful time. And they were until about 10:30.
Hey, man, VPS, I very much appreciate that. Thank you for hanging around. We do this Monday through Friday, and then of course we have members only on Saturday morning. And we do this where we're live for an hour. I try to get all these stories within a 24-hour period into a single hour. Now, unfortunately, because of how much shit goes on in the media, and these are very important things that need to be discussed and shown. Sometimes we run into overtime. So we're going to have a little bit of overtime today, but I'm going to try to reduce that because I got places to be after this. So
last night, Stephanie.
Yeah, and I know, Lisa, you just mentioned that the suspect is still at large. Have police mentioned anything about public safety in terms of whether the public should be on guard, whether there is no concern for the larger public safety?
I don't think at this point we don't really know that yet. We're still waiting for more information, which we're expecting from them this afternoon.
Well, Alicia, unfortunately, we're already at an hour right now, and I still got multiple stories to go through. And I can't take stories on the spot like that, especially if you're not somebody that's been in the chat forever. You know what I mean? So you can always suggest stories. You can send it into my Instagram, or you can send it to my email. I'll have it scroll here for you guys here. Here's my Instagram. And you can reach out to me here, or you can go into the Discord, and the Discord server's down below. And if you got stories, you guys can send me. And there, a lot of times people do send me stories, and sometimes I do cover it, but it's not up to you to decide who covers what. You know what I mean?
The other thing of note, though, it was less than a month ago that the Brooklyn District Attorney, there was a very, very big gang takedown right in the Coney Island area. And sometimes after those, there's retaliatory shootings. It's not clear if this had anything to do with that at all, but that's obviously a question that I have in my mind, simply because of the fact that this wasn't at a public park. This wasn't in a wide open area where it was just some random type of thing. It appears to be that there was some particular motive for that particular location and the people who might be there at that time. So we don't know that yet, and we're going to be.
Shit, what's up, Tommy? It's been a minute. Hopefully you're enjoying the start of your week as well. Good to see you.
You're waiting more information, but a terrible way to end the evening on such what was
Thank you,
otherwise
Rose.
such a beautiful
Appreciate
4th of
that.
July here in New York City, Stephanie.
And we're sending our well wishes to everyone who is injured. And also, Lisa, I know that you're keeping a very close eye after an NYPD officer was shot amid the July 4th holiday as well.
Yes, and this was another just really tragic thing. Also in Brooklyn, in a different neighborhood in the Crown Heights section of Brooklyn, and these officers were sitting in an unmarked car. They were part of a detail that was sent out to certain hot spots throughout the city, and this one in particular in Brooklyn and in Crown Heights. They were sitting in the car when they observed what they.
See, this is what we were just covering on that previous shooting. What we're talking about there.
It was an 18-year-old individual. Here's the gun that they found.
This is the 18-year-old that shot the officer, and those 3 officers went to go shoot him, and they missed, and then they tasered him and arrested him. This is what he used on the cop.
Suspect. This individual, they saw the gun. The officers exited. One of them, a detective, they exited the vehicle. They tried to engage, according to Police Commissioner Tish's words, they tried to engage the individual in a conversation. And then he's 18 years old, the suspect. He started firing at them.
So I'll put it in the chat for you, so you have the
One officer
email.
was hit in the back. Thankfully, it was where his bulletproof vest was. Another had what they're calling contusions to the face, and the officers fired multiple shots at the suspect. He was not hit apparently at all. They ended up tasing him, but not before he had shot up the police car that they were in, the unmarked car, I should say, that they were in. He shot up the windshield.
What's up, Tom? Good morning.
Shot up the rear view, the rear window of that, but he was taken into custody. So we're waiting for a lot more details about that case as well, of what was involved in it and who this 18-year-old individual is. But to find that kind of gun, to find that kind of gun, what is he doing out? It was about just after 4 a.m. this morning.
Wow, it was at 4 a.m. too. What the fuck, dude? That's crazy. All right, let's go and move on. We have to. Let's get into the next story here. Trump wants loyalty from NATO allies ahead of critical Turkey summit. Now, Trump is going to have more of the angle on the thought process of what's currently happening with Iran, but NATO's not really going to be talking much about Iran in that case. They're actually going to be speaking a lot more about Ukraine. Now, they are going to talk about what's going on in Iran, but specifically only to react, or how they're going to react, how they're going to go forward with Ukraine. So that's literally what they're getting to, Now, when Trump speaks, he will speak a lot about Iran, I'm sure. And he will talk about NATO, or, as from a Ukraine standpoint. But I think he will be kind of hyper-focused in what's going on currently with us. I think he's going to be talking about that more. But the rest of the NATO leaders and all that stuff, they're not there for that. So anyways, let's go ahead and bring this up. Give me a second here. Here we go.
Welcome back in the Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Anna Marsick. President Trump is set to travel to Turkey this week for the critical NATO summit. This post coming from the Washington Post. The NATO summit kicking off in Turkey this week affords President Trump a rare in-person opportunity to lean on European allies dragging their feet on defense spending, as well as a chance to showcase his administration's embrace of this year's host. Ukraine, Syria, and a high-profile press conference also figure into the American president's 2 days there in Turkey. So as we know, President Trump headed to Turkey.
Now, this meeting is supposed to like start tomorrow. So we'll be covering what's going on tomorrow. Trump will be headed there, I believe, that sometime this afternoon.
For what's really expected to be one of the most highly watched NATO summits in years. The alliance is just grappling with the ongoing war in Ukraine. Of course, those concerns about Russia, pressure on the member nations to boost defense spending, and some broader questions about NATO's future role on the world stage. So what can we expect from the president's meeting with world leaders?
See how she didn't once mention Iran there?
And
Yeah,
what could
that's
come
why.
out of this summit? Joining us right now is former U.S. Ambassador to the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, James S. Gilmore III. Thanks so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox.
Okay, before he gets into it, I really don't care about what he's got to say, respectfully. So let me see if we actually get an image where we can actually hear, and it's not them just showing an image and then having someone speak over
There's an
it.
opportunity to begin that kind of discussion.
So yes, they did just fucking have them continue speaking over it. European leaders have called for new U.S. and European efforts to support new peace talks between Russia and Ukraine. Well, yeah, there's going to be calls for that, of course, but that's one of those things, like, people don't understand how warfare really truly works, especially not from the standpoint from the United States or our perspective, but the fight over there. I mean, they've been at war for what, 4 years, 5 years? I mean, they've been at war long, but the real start to this last whole big war was like fucking 4 years ago, 5 years ago. It's just incredible to go through that many people and death and destruction with uncertainty going forward. It's just insane.
With Ukrainian President Volodymyr.
It's one thing to be an American where we know we're going to win on a military front no matter what. So our morale is going to be way fucking higher in our service than it would be in like the Ukraine service, right?
Zelensky, while in Turkey, making that renewed push to end the war in Ukraine. What do you think we can expect from these conversations?
Well, I think they can be very positive because of the most recent turn of events. The president, I think, really believed for a long time that Russia was just simply going to roll over Ukraine and reinstate them back into the Russian Empire and murder all the people that were leaders in Ukraine. That's not the case.
Yeah, that's totally fucking terrible, man. I've been following Russia-Ukraine heavy for, I would say on the heavy side for the last couple of years. And it's just been heavy. And on all these war fronts, it's just been fucked. So let's see if we get anything else here. NATO comes out and says, at the NATO summit in Accra, or however you say it, allies will demonstrate how NATO is building for the future, ensuring we have the forces and capabilities we need, that responsibility is more fairly shared across the alliance. Wow. All right. Let's go ahead and see if there's anything else. There is not. All right. We quickly, because we also have this in the title about Venezuela and the death toll rising. So we have that right here. Death toll from earthquakes in northern Venezuela rises as recovery efforts continue. Now, quickly, just a quick cap on this, because I actually looked up these numbers specifically actually this moment. And right now what it's saying is, from Reuters, is saying 3,342 that are dead. 16 anywhere from the injured numbers is anywhere from 16,470 to 16,700. There is missing and accounted for. Now, this is still unclear, and they even reported this on Reuters as well, saying, because there's conflicting reports that are coming out. Some are saying 31,000, and some are saying 50,000 plus. Either way, it's terrible. And then we have 17,000 as a result from this, that the ones that survived. There are now 17,345 homeless people, according to Venezuela's information ministry. So definitely heavy definitely heavy. And of course, we've been following this earthquake since it happened.
Welcome back to Live.
And we'll just
now
get the front half of
I'm
this,
Shauna
just the front monologue.
We are continuing to follow the latest out of Venezuela as the death toll continues to climb following those back-to-back earthquakes. This is a look at just some of the destruction we're seeing there in Venezuela, and a look at the latest death toll, according to Reuters, saying the earthquake's death toll rising now to 3,342. And the government also defending its response, even as it gears up for a major recovery effort there in Venezuela.
Yes, the U.S. is down there right now. We sent them a ton of actual like military equipment, and because there's not only the rescue people that are going to be flipping through shit and stuff like that, which a lot of the locals are doing that, and rescue teams as well that came in from the United States as well. But there is a lot of love being shown, not only from the United States, but multiple. I mean, the whole globe kind of got together on this one. They're like, yeah, we're going to send all of our resources, for this. And I mean, the death toll is going to be insane. I mean, at the end of this, they'll probably have those missing people. You can count those missing people, as part of the death toll. Unfortunately, you only have about 72 hours before people start dying underneath that rubble from no water, no food. I mean, you're fucked. You're squished, and you're, it's just I can't even imagine going through that and knowing that's how you're going to die, and you have to just wait out your death. I mean, just terrible.
Stephen Brown has more from Miami.
It's now been more than a week since twin earthquakes rocked northern Venezuela, and they're still pulling survivors from the rubble. You can see here international rescue teams carefully digging out a 43-year-old man who was trapped.
Yeah, it was a double earthquake. It was a 7.2, and then right after they had a 7.5. Now, something that's interesting about the scale, the Richter scale, whatever they call it, 7.2 compared to a 7.5, it sounds very close, but it's actually not. It's graded on a bell curve. So a 7.2 compared to a 7.5, the difference is on the shakeability on the ground is almost double, just so you know. It's insane. So they had a tragic 7.2 and then a whopping 7.5 to solidify death and destruction. And so, yeah, it was back to back like that.
For 8 days. His wife says it's a miracle.
I didn't know if he was alive or dead, but when I realized he was alive, it was like a ray of light in the darkness.
But elsewhere, hope is beginning to fade as more bodies are discovered. First responders say they're looking and listening for indications of survivors, but they're starting to get inconsistent at this point.
Hey, you be safe, Naomi. We always appreciate you.
Doing this activity again to try to confirm our signals, but now we don't have any identification.
And the focus is slowly turning from rescue to recovery, and it will not be easy. Tens of thousands have been left homeless. Countless others are without them.
I don't know the answer to that. I will look into that.
Themselves. The UN is scaling up massive aid to the region, but residents there say it might not be enough.
I don't know what it will be like. It's hard. My life is there. It's hard. I don't think I will be able to start again from scratch.
Meanwhile, the government...
No, I'm sure that, I mean, listen, man, Venezuela, it's not like people got money like that. Okay, man. These huts that they live in, that went down, and the rubble that came crashing down, that they refused to use some sort of rebar on their shit. I don't know why, but it's like they're allergic to it. But everything costs money, man. And these guys, listen, look up $1 US compared to their currency in Venezuela. It'll blow your mind.
Is defending what critics have called a slow response to the quakes, claiming they're doing their best with limited resources.
The Civil Protection System and the Public Emergency System were immediately deployed. We did not wait 1, 2, or 3 days.
And that's true. She is right about that. They didn't wait 1 or 2 or 3 days to send, their like every bit of their support. They did it the second it happened. Obviously, I mean, it happened in Caracas, and the major, it's like the Los Angeles of Venezuela.
We acted immediately.
The State Department is committing more than $300 million for aid for
Yeah,
Venezuela.
see, that's mind-blowing, Sterling, that some of those like cement walls and all that shit, and you can see it in the rubble on the ground as well, how it fell apart. And I've also noticed it's just crazy. It's just crazy the way that they build their shit, and there's zero like code, you know, like that they got to follow and get clearance from their government. Okay, now you know, yeah, there is none of that shit.
Number is expected to grow. In Miami, Eben Brown, Fox News.
Good morning, Mr. Steiny from Wyoming. Good morning.
And again, we do have an update on the numbers. This is according to Reuters. They are citing numbers released by
Yes, thank you guys for hitting that like button, by the way. Double tap that screen if you're on the vertical
the
side.
Venezuelan Information Ministry today, saying the death toll from
Look
those
at this.
twin earthquakes in Venezuela has now risen to 3,342.
And good morning, Rose.
And the number of people injured now at 16,470. They also say the number of people displaced from their homes has risen as well.
That's the number that I gave for the injured as well, by the way, 16,470. So they used the Reuters numbers.
To about 17,000. And a lot of people working.
You be good out there, Easy Frank. We always appreciate you. And thank you for the steak tips, homie. They came out phenomenal. I got video of them. I know that you don't have social media and stuff like that, so you wouldn't have saw it. But I posted on social media and all that shit. But I'll somehow get it to you where you can see
on
it.
those recovery efforts and also on some much needed food and medical aid there in Venezuela. One of those groups helping out is Mercy Chefs. They are on the ground in Venezuela responding to the devastating earthquakes. They're there serving hot meals to patients and doctors at a hospital, also at makeshift
Man, this is just devastating.
shelters and in communities where people have been displaced by these earthquakes. And we are going to have an interview with Mercy Chefs here. They are live in Venezuela, so we're just making sure that the
Thank you for the conversion. We got Sterling Wheel W, by the way. $1 USD is 652 Venezuelan. Wow. Jesus Christ.
connection is good here. It looks like we have the founder and CEO of Mercy Chefs, Gary LeBlanc, joining us. Thank you so much.
Like when I went down to Brazil, for instance, you know, their reel is worth, I mean, not much at all either. But it's 1 to 8, at least at the time that I went. I went down there in 21. So the conversion rate was 1 to 8, basically. So anyways.
For being here, Gary, live from Caracas tonight.
Thank you for having me on.
That is crazy.
So you guys
GPS.
are doing a lot for the people there in Venezuela. First, I want to ask you firsthand, you've spent
Okay, so we already know about the efforts and all that stuff. So real quick, I do have to show this because this came out right before we started the live stream. Trump came out and announced the launch of the Trump accounts for kids and stuff like that with newborns that are now going to be whatever. So it's like a bank account essentially for kids to essentially when you put into or whatever, you can add more and more to it if you want. But if you just left it alone, at least your kid has something when they turn, either 18, you can pull from it. I think I forget what the numbers are, but the longer you have it in there, the more money you'll make. Obviously, it's kind of like just compounding interest. So here we go. Let me go ahead and pull this up. Give me 2 seconds here. Boom.
I'm grateful to be with you on this historic occasion. The American dream belongs to every child, and today we are equipping the next generation with the right to claim their rightful share of it. Through Trump accounts, our president is creating an ownership economy where all citizens become shareholders. 38% of American families do not have any exposure to our great equity markets, but with Trump accounts over time, we can get that number to 0. Already, 6 million American children have signed up, 86% of them with families earning less than $200,000. U.S. Treasury, 1.4 million of those accounts will receive $1,000 from the U.S. Treasury to seed the accounts. When the markets open in just a few minutes, Trump accounts will benefit. So ring the bell, Mr. President.
That was so funny. He goes, yeah, the market is going to open here in like 2-3 minutes, blah, blah, blah. And Trump said, nah, I'm going to ring it now. That's right before the market opened. Listen to that. It was pretty fucking funny.
When the market's open in just a few minutes.
When the market's open just in a few minutes. No, we're ringing it right now.
Oh, Trump accounts will benefit. So ring the bell, Mr. President.
Down the Marco. Oh shit!
So I will just finish by saying, on the eve on the heels of our 250th anniversary, that this will be one of the president's most
Really? They max out? What? That can't be right.
enduring legacies,
Really?
and the great bounty of
No
this
way.
will go for generations to come. It is my privilege to invite
If it's only $5,000, it's not worth it. If it caps out at 5, there's no way.
President Trump to
Really?
speak after we had two firsts today. First time we've ever had the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ. They do a joint opening, and first time we've ever had the opening bell run in the Oval Office. So, Mr. President.
And we'll take this front work, because then he brings up a round of people, and then afterwards he takes up questions and stuff. We're not going to do that today. What we are going to get, though, is this front monologue about Trump accounts real quick.
Well, this is very exciting and amazing achievement. People, we don't know this, Michael, but people have been trying to do this for 30 years. And they were so generous. He put up, and she put up, I think she more than him, maybe. Both very much involved, but Michael and Susan put up $6.25 billion. And I'm sure if I make a phone call, they'll do it again. The job they've done is incredible in life. So we want to thank you very much. Amazing. Really amazing.
I set him up, by the way. And it might sound a little bit like he's on Adderall, but he's not. I got him sped up. What up, Carrie? And always appreciate you. And thank you for hanging out with us this morning. We always appreciate it. Be safe out there.
A friend from Micron, by the way, called me on Friday, and he said Micron's putting in $250 million, and he's done a phenomenal job. And $250 million, and many other companies and people are putting up tremendous amounts of money. And it's something I'm very proud of. Some people think it's going to go down as one of the most important things we've done during the administration. So after a truly historic weekend celebrating the 250th anniversary of America, today we're thrilled to officially launch the Trump accounts. And we had some beautiful people and speeches and tremendous crowds. We had the biggest crowd anyone's ever seen that unfortunately lightning caused it to leave. And everybody said, well, we'll do it another time. When I heard that, I said, no, we won't. Everybody had left. I said, we're not doing it another time. We're doing it on the 4th of July. And we actually started the speech on the 4th of July. We had to wait a little while, like a couple of hours, let the lightning pass. And everyone had left. And we came back, and they had 150,000 people came back they took their car. They're going back home to Texas. They turned their car around and came back. You wouldn't believe it, 150. I think the 150 was more impressive than the 425 or whatever it was. It was pretty amazing. And Mount Rushmore likewise was so incredible. So people love our country. Our country's doing incredibly well. Strongest military in the world has been displayed with Venezuela, who we're getting along with fantastically now. We've taken hundreds of billions of dollars of oil and given them hundreds of billions. They have more money than they've ever made. And we're doing very well. Paid for the war many times over. And then Iran, we're doing actually.
And I'm sure he's right on the aspect of the amount of influx that we are now putting into Venezuela. I'm sure that it has helped their economy in many ways. I'm sure that the dollar difference, even what we just looked up with what the exchange rate right now is, $1 US to their Venezuelan. I bet you just 3 years ago, 2 years ago, it was double that in the negative. So I bet you it was like 1 to 1,500 or whatever.
As well, we're just not getting the kind of coverage that we should, but we have eviscerated them military. And the bottom line is our country is strong. We have the greatest military anywhere.
Thank you for that, by the way, because that wouldn't have made sense. So Steve Easy says, correction, the annual max is $5,000, not overall. So the amount that you can contribute, the maximum that you can contribute to the account is $5,000. Makes sense. Totally makes sense.
In the world I was with,
because I'm like, yeah, if it caps out at $5,000, it's might as well be worthless. You know what I mean? We can be honest.
3 weeks ago, and I said that, and there was no argument. Nobody's arguing. We built it during my first term, and we're using it now for very good reasons, because in this case, Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. Can never let that happen. On Saturday, July 4th, our administration deposited one-time seed contributions of $1,000 each into the Trump accounts of over 500,000 American children. It's a lot. And millions more will be getting additional contributions from generous donors like, as I mentioned, Michael and Susan Dell. They are truly incredible people. Go out and buy a Dell computer. He's not doing it for that. But I'll bet his business, Brad, has gotten even bigger. I have a son that loves their laptop. I have to tell you, no, I want a Dell. We're going to get him that money back one way or the other. And then I'll ask for another $6,250,000. We'll start the whole process all over again. No, he makes an incredible product, and right from the beginning. And Brad Gerstner has been pushing this, so he's a very successful man. Not quite as famous as the Dell family, right? It's Michael, but you are.
Hey, you be safe, Steve Easy. We always appreciate
amazingly
you.
Successful guy. And he's put up a tremendous amount of money. And again, I want to thank Mike Ryan and all of the companies that have already called me, and they're putting up a lot of money. This is nothing. This is not me. And putting the name on it was not my idea. That was a whole group of people that passed legislation, because this is all made possible only by the passage of the great big beautiful bill. And I knew that this was happening, but I didn't know. All of a sudden,
No, it's very true. You can very well tell that about Trump when he speaks about the economy. He treats the stock market like as if it's the economy, and that's a false comparison. Yeah, it doesn't correlate like that. Yes, it can help the economy, but overall, what the economy is, no. That you kind of look towards, like, your actual nation's debt. You look at interest rates. You look at all different types of things for the
I
economy.
see my name on it in the bill, but I'm very proud to have my name. They think it would sell. They said it'll sell better if your name's on. I said, look, leave it on. But I did not. I just want to. I did not ask for it. Michael, is that a correct statement? Did I ever go to you and say, Michael, don't put up the money unless they use my name? No. But I have done that in other cases. I will tell you. In certain other cases, I've done that, right, Scott? But not in this case. This is a very special kind of a thing that took place. It's in a way, it's a miracle. Nobody thought it was possible. Think of it. Children that are born without money, without any money. Great parents. They can have everything, can be great, but they have no money. They can become very wealthy children at 18, and they can flip it over, or their people can flip it over into other vehicles at a certain age so that they don't take it out. I would recommend they probably don't take it out, but they can have a lot of money, especially if the market continues. Can you imagine if you did this during Trump a year ago?
Now, obviously, this fund will correlate to how the stock market's going to react. That is going to correlate in this particular thing with Trump accounts.
And a half ago,
so that
the market's gone up at levels. As an example, everybody said when I got elected, there's no way that during the 4-year period we'll ever hit 50,000 on the Dow, and we hit 50,000 on the Dow. I would say,
I recently saw those numbers, VPS, and it was mind blowing. It was actually mind blowing how much money you need to make, and what a true living wage would look like.
In the first year, records. We had records. What NASDAQ has done, what the New York Stock Exchange, all the stock exchanges, 7,000 on the S&P was impossible during the
What's up, brother Hardwire? Yes, sir. He says it's basically starting a 401k for kids. Yes, sir.
first
That's
year, but they really
exactly
thought it was
what
impossible in 4 years, and we hit it before the first year. So if the children had invested the money a year and a half ago, we should have acted faster. Actually, it's too bad. But it's going to go up. We have a hot country. It's going to go up. I think the market's going to go through the roof. When all those factories open, they're being built all over the country.
No, I hear you, Brian. I'm a fiscal conservative, man. I think that, like, the government has no, like, I need less government, and to me, this is, yes, it can benefit people. And that's why I'm not going to, like, super harp about it. But for instance, I'm not going to use it, for my child or my future children, if they qualify or whatever. I wouldn't use it either. I make my own money decisions. I don't even use different agencies to pick out my different stocks that I'm going to be involved in. No, I own business. I'm responsible for what I have at the end of the day.
At record numbers. We have never built in the history of our country what we're building now. We have $19.2 trillion, and much of that money is going toward building factories, plants, AI, automobile. We've never built as many automobile plants. They're all over, and they're coming from all over the world. You know why? Because they don't want to pay tariffs. If they build their cars here, they pay no tariffs. So Japan, instead of making them in Japan or South Korea, instead of making them in Germany with Volkswagen and Mercedes and BMW, they're all building plants here now. They're coming out of Canada. They're coming out of Mexico. Mexico took a lot of our business, so did Canada. They're all coming.
Well, I'm not going to tell you my portfolio, SSG. I mean, I think that would be kind of ridiculous, wouldn't you think?
I don't know what the countries are going to do, but they're all coming back. So today, with the ringing of the opening bell for the stock market, those accounts will now begin to grow right along with our booming economy. And I really believe we're going to have the biggest boom of all right now. You haven't seen anything yet. Between individual contributions and the seed funds, $800 million in new capital will be invested in the stock.
Good for you. I'm glad that you partake in the market like that.
Stock market for America.
I think more Americans should figure it out, honestly, and how to utilize it, because the percentage, what is it, like 17% of Americans utilize the market or something like that? I forget what it is.
And I also think that we're going to be putting.
And I'm talking about actually investing like their money, not having some fun, whatever. Not some sort of like 401k thing that correlates to the market. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about taking it upon yourself to open yourself an account and actually invest in business and learn how to invest in business. You don't buy or sell depending on the market. You buy and sell depending if they're profitable or not. You read their quarterlies. You like, for instance, I'm not going to sell my stock because it drops 30% or something like that. I'm willing to stick it out kind of guy. Now, if let's say a CEO I know is coming in and they have a different worldview than what I expected for the company and what is working, and he wants to take the company to a completely different world, well, that's when I sell. You know what I mean? That's how I work on that shit. I don't react on human emotion, which is what the market is. That's what it reacts to.
Numbers in the budget, which will be really spectacular because it's really not costing us anything. We're giving this money to children so they can have a good life very early on. They can have a good life.
I'm not going to tell you.
We're going to be doing also something we're working on later on, and it'll be also, I think, very popular. And I guess the best definition is they have a plan in Australia, which people really like. It's really worked out very well, incredibly well, and very respected. And we're going to be talking about that with Congress and see if we can implement it. And that would
Mama, my man, good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat, bro.
More for grown-ups as opposed to children, but it's something that's going to be great, I think.
Steve
if we can get it
Posey,
done, and
my
we're going
man.
to try very hard. But again, I want to thank Michael and Susan, Brad, and his son Lincoln, as well as Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, who has really been an incredible. If you're casting a movie, you put him as the Secretary of the Treasury because he's central casting. Do we agree? What do you say? More importantly, he's done a great job. SBA Administrator Kelly Loeffler, who's been phenomenal. Chairman of the SEC, Paul Atkins.
So now he's going to give the accolades. That's where he's going into now. So we'll go ahead and leave it off right there. I think that's a good place for us we understand what happened for the day or over the weekend completely, and then up until right now. So that just happened right before we started the live stream. So, ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank each and every single one of you guys enough. Thank you guys for being here. Make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side on your way out. Very much appreciate it. Listen, we'll be back here tomorrow morning for more of the World's Madness. God bless everyone. We'll see you guys here very soon. Much love, honor, respect, everybody.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul, with a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with, fueled by the power that only metal can be.